Hello and welcome to Temple of Geek. I'm Nick Williams, and today we're going to review Star Wars Tales of the Empire that drops on Disney Plus on May 4th.
Why do you seek Imperial favor?
Years ago, my people were all but destroyed. My anger gives me strength. It is that strength I offer the Empire.
Offer accepted.
I'm here to present you with an opportunity, Barriss.
Just be glad you're not a Jedi anymore.
Your path is set, Morgan Elsbeth. I will fulfill my destiny.
Mercy only breeds defeat. But I will help you overcome this weakness. Attack!
You said the Empire would help to change things.
Everything comes at a cost. My world has been burning since I was a child. You cannot stop what has begun.
Now, you must face one final test. To join us. It is time you meet your new master. Long live the Empire.
Tales of the Empire is the exciting follow-up to Tales of the Jedi, which released a while back. It's 6 episodes, essentially they're mini episodes running from 11 to 15 minutes. This season follows 2 characters that we've seen before on 3-episode story arcs. Our 2 characters for this season are Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee. Our first 3 episodes follow Morgan Elsbeth, who we first saw in The Mandalorian going up against Ahsoka Tano. And then, of course, we saw Morgan again in Ahsoka. The Mandalorian and Ahsoka give us Morgan's journey's end, where Tales of the Empire gives us her origins. So the first episode starts off hard. It starts off in the midst of the Clone Wars, where Grievous is essentially annihilating Dathomir. And as we found out in Ahsoka, Morgan Elsbeth is a Dathomirian witch. Now, this whole scene with Grievous, it is a very hard watch. It goes back to the Clone Wars. You could see it in that version, but now we see it from Morgan's side of things. This first episode goes hard. It gives us Morgan's beginnings where she loses everything. And as we've seen, Morgan's path ends in darkness. It doesn't end in the light. So these 3 episodes show us how she got to that point. And the curiosity that I always had when it came to The Mandalorian and Ahsoka is, how could Morgan be a part of the Empire, especially once we find out that she is Dathomirian? We also get to see how she joins Admiral Thrawn, and at this point, it's Admiral Thrawn, not Grand Admiral Thrawn. And this is all going to tie into Star Wars Rebels, The Mandalorian, and Ahsoka. It brings it all together. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but just look at that image. That image says a lot right there. That's all the visual you need to prepare yourself for Morgan Elsbeth's story. And these 3 episodes will lead up to where we see her in The Mandalorian. The next 3 episodes follows the story of Barriss Offee, who we know from the Clone Wars. Now, it's important to know Barriss's backstory. Of course, Barriss was a Padawan, just like Ahsoka Tano. In fact, they were good friends. During the Clone Wars, Barriss became disenfranchised with the Jedi, among many others. Unfortunately, how Barriss dealt with it went down a much darker path. She ended up setting off a bomb in the Jedi Temple, and there was a whole investigation to find out who it was. And of course, Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano were among those investigators. During that investigation, Barriss frames her good friend Ahsoka Tano for this atrocity. Before Ahsoka could be sentenced, Anakin figured out the entire plot and Barriss was arrested. And this is where we start off with Barriss in Tales of the Empire, is incarcerated. She ends up being recruited by the Inquisitors, and you could see here the Fourth Sister, who we actually see in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. She's brought to Fortress Inquisitorius, where she's trained and tested by the Grand Inquisitor. And if you know anything about the Inquisitors, their tests are brutal. They're essentially tested to their limits and bringing out the dark side as much as possible. They have to strip away their identities and embrace the hate. The continuation of Barriss' story has been highly anticipated by fans for years, and as we know, Dave Filoni loves to finish his story arcs. With Morgan, we know where her story leads, but with Barriss, we have absolutely no idea, and that's what we find out in this show. Now, as for my general thoughts, I think this show is good. I think it is good storytelling. I think some fans will really enjoy it and embrace it, where others will be slightly underwhelmed. And the reason for being underwhelmed isn't because of good or bad storytelling. It's because both first episodes with each character go really hard. There is so much intensity and action that happens in this. But then as we go along with each of those stories, it starts to wane as far as the action, where we get a little bit more of that character development and story. But I know a lot of fans are going to want big endings to all of these stories, which isn't exactly what we get. With Morgan Elsbeth, we don't get a conclusion to her story. It's a setup for where we see her in live action. And of course, with Barriss, we see what becomes of her. I'm not going to give any spoilers. You're going to have to watch the show for that. But we do get satiated in that we see where she ends up. And that could be good. That could be bad. You'll have to watch. I don't know if this show will be as well received as Tales of the Jedi, because Tales of the Jedi had very popular characters with Ahsoka Tano and with Count Dooku, and of course the supporting cast within that were also very popular characters, where this one has one pretty popular character in Barriss Offee, and Morgan Elsbeth is a newer character that we don't have that long-standing love of, even though the actress is amazing and it is a great, intriguing character. I know what most people are going to be talking about is Barriss Offee, because we've been wondering about her outcome for years, ever since season 5 of The Clone Wars. Also the fact that it's 3 episodes for each character, and those episodes are short. So we don't really get a full encompassed story that we would in a regular show season. But one thing that I do love is that we are getting answers to characters that we wouldn't necessarily get in a full-blown show because they weren't the main characters. But now we actually get to dive in and see what becomes of them or where they came from. Overall, this show is good. It is good storytelling. It is good, intriguing character development. Again, I don't know how well it will be received, but it is worth a watch. I always worry about the fan reaction with these shows because it leaves you wanting more because of how truncated everything is. But this show does finally give you answers that fans have been asking for many years. There are definitely things in this show that you will not expect, you will not see coming, or you will not see where it's going. And that's something that I do love about storytelling. I don't want to be able to predict everything, because then that starts to get a little boring. One of the reasons why I'm saying this is to set you up for certain expectations when you actually watch the show, so you can enjoy every bit of it and not have your expectations too high that it's going to be a grand 15-episode season. These are short stories that have to tell a lot within that small amount of time. I definitely recommend it. It is a good show. It is good Star Wars storytelling, and you will have a great time. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this, and we will see you for future reviews.